Self-love is one of the most talked about concepts online, but also one of the most misunderstood. So in this video, we're going to break down what self-love actually looks like. Not the aesthetic version of it, but in practice, the version that changes your habits, your mindset, your relationships, and your entire life. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Mirella, and on here we talk about all things self-care, class, and self-growth. You can find all of my info and my other socials in the description. Now, let's get right into it. First things first, holding yourself accountable. And I really feel like nobody talks about this. There's this huge gap, especially here on YouTube. Everyone wants to talk about boundaries and how to keep others accountable, having self-respect, but always in relation to others. Nobody really talks about holding yourself accountable and how self-loving it is to do so. Recognizing your mistakes, recognizing what you have to work on. And that's the only way to get further in life, to become better. Because a lot of people think that self-love is just about accepting yourself and letting people meet you there. And while it is incredibly important to learn how to love yourself at any stage in your life, you also have to recognize when you're in a place that is not serving you. And sometimes it's not just external, that could also be your mind and your body. It can also be something internal. So what can we do? First of all, I want you to start noticing your reactions to people, to things, to certain situations, because they show you your triggers. So that might indicate you an area in your life where you might need healing or just to work on. Make an example. That might be responding to stress with anger, because maybe that's the only emotion that you'll learn in your life, the only way that you'll learn to deal with stress. Or that might be being a very judgmental person. Something you can notice very easily is how do you react when someone is happy? Or how do you react looking at people in the street? These are just examples, but they show your triggers. And at the end of the day, you cannot just expect other people to be better if you don't even put in the work to be better. And second, that might also be something physical, not only emotional. So everyone tells you to just love your body as it is. While that is partially true, I also don't believe that it's possible to really love your body if all you do is hurt it. That might look like overeating or undereating. And again, these are just examples. It can be in any shape or form. It can be mental, physical, in your habits. The point is that you need to start keeping yourself accountable before expecting other people to meet you there, before expecting other people to be perfect. And while this might come off a little bit harsh, it's actually the most self-loving thing you can do. Self-love is not always soft. Sometimes it's a little bit harsh. Sometimes it's just about putting in the work to be better. Just like a parent that wants the best for you. They're not always accommodating you or doing what you want to do. Sometimes they have to do what is best for you, even if you don't like it. Next, this one is a soft one, so it's not mental. I'm just gonna try to alternate them so that it's not too harsh. And it's literally to adorn and nurture your body, to deeply take care of it, to do all of your little rituals, to put on the expensive creams, to put on the silk PJs. And if you follow me, you're tired of me saying this because I literally say it all the time. To use all the nice skincare, because again, for sure, a big part of self-love is to showing that love to yourself, to stop waiting for someone to make you feel special, to show yourself that you deserve to be treated right. Start treating your body like a temple. That also includes, of course, your eating habits. Eating healthy, eating enough, not overeating, but also spoiling yourself. And in fact, this actually leads us to the next point, which is to really give yourself princess treatment. Why are you waiting for a man or any external person to give you something when you can give it to yourself first? And guess what? When you give yourself princess treatment, when you give it to yourself first, you're gonna stop accepting the bare minimum. You're gonna stop accepting from others any less than that. But it's something that needs to start with you first. You cannot just demand from someone something that you don't even give to yourself first. But after you do, trust me, you will stop accepting the bare minimum. So it's just a win-win. Giving yourself princess treatment might look like buying yourself flowers or bringing yourself on a date, buying yourself that thing that you really wanted, that you've been working so hard to get. Because sometimes, especially as women, we tend to put everyone and everything above us and before us and never really take the time to spoil ourselves. So give that to yourself first. Okay, next point, we are back with the mindset shifts. And one of the most self-loving things to do that I really want you to realize is to learn to love yourself enough to not be afraid to be authentic, to really be yourself. To realize that, first of all, being cringe literally doesn't exist. Being cringe only exists when you make it exist. embarrassment is not real. It's only there when you live your life for others. And second, exactly, you cannot love yourself if you're living a life performing for others. And I actually just made a video on authenticity, so if you want to learn more about how to be authentic, definitely go check it out. I really wanted to include it in this video, but I don't want to repeat myself too much. So if you want to know more about it, definitely go check it out. Because at the end of the day, it's just about self-love and not being afraid of just being yourself fully, living a life that is truthful for you, not for other people. So just get rid of the expectations of people. Fifth point is about self-compassion, because just like the parent wants the best for you and keeps you accountable, making you do the things that you don't want to do for your own good, bettering you, being a little bit harsh sometimes, but always because they love you so much, a good parent is also very compassionate, very loving. I want you to be your own parent, or look at yourself as if you were your own kid. If you were your own good parent, you would strive to make you better, and you would definitely keep yourself accountable, but you will always do it from a place of love, never of hate. You would never look at yourself or your kid in the mirror and tell them how ugly they are and how much they have to change. For example, going back to your eating habits, because I feel like that's the most easy and understandable example that I can do. You should never hate the current version of yourself, or you should still strive to make it better. As you would not hate your kid for being overweight, but at the same time, you want the best for them. So you would definitely want them to eat healthy. You would definitely want them to be nourished and have a healthy body. You would never want them to be unhealthy, but at the same time, you would never hate them for it. At least not if you're a good parent. Again, we're talking from the point of view of a good parent. It means loving yourself enough, or your kid enough, to recognize that what you're doing or what they're doing is hurting them, because you love them so much and you want the best for them. And the same thing applies if they were doing bad in school. As a good parent, I would try to motivate them, helping them to study, understanding the root cause, because you cannot really shame them into being better. So start acting as if you were a very good parent. Self-love is about self-compassion. It's about quitting the negative self-talk. It's about stopping, looking yourself in the mirror and telling yourself how ugly you are, how fat you are. Recognizing that, as I said in my first point, you absolutely have to put in the work, but you don't have to do it from a place of hate. And this is the most important difference. Again, a lot of people tell you to just love yourself, and to me, that's really not enough. But that doesn't mean you have to shame yourself into changing, that you have to hate yourself in the process. No, you have to realize what you're lacking, what you're doing wrong, what you're doing that is hurting you, because most of the time failing or having unhealthy eating habits is also hurting you or your career, your life. So you have to change. You cannot just love yourself whatever you are and live in this fairy tale. That is not self-love. That is just ignoring the problem. However, do you have to do it from a place of hate? No, you don't have to hate yourself into change. Finally, yes, everyone talks about this, but it's important. So I'm gonna say that too. Have self-respect and stop letting people cross your boundaries. But again, you can do it only because you've already done all the internal work first. You're not demanding something from people that you're not giving to yourself first. You give yourself princess treatment. You work on your body. You work on healing yourself. When you do all of it, why would you accept something lower from someone else? Why would you accept to be disrespected? And you see, the biggest issue with self-development content nowadays is that everyone is telling you to have boundaries, to let people respect you, but without doing all the work first. That sometimes transmutes into arrogance, into disrupting relationships, and that is not self-love. That is actually the opposite. It's about not putting in the work and expecting everyone else around you to do it for you. But when you give yourself princess treatment, when you work so much on yourself, the most self-loving thing you can do is to start being surrounded by people that do the same and stop accepting anything less. So we are at the end of today's video. As always, I really hope that you learned something and that you liked it. If you loved it, make sure to like it and subscribe, and also leave a comment because I always read them. I appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you next week with a brand new video. Bye bye.